Welcome to the 5 best restaurants in Beverly Hills. You may end up noticing a common theme that Beverly Hills is really popular for celebrity sightings, just because they're either like working or living in the area, so they will just kind of be out and about. There was a restaurant in Beverly Hills that we loved called Cafe Roma that closed. So I couldn't add it onto this list. Also, the original Cheesecake Factory is in Beverly Hills, so that is also worth checking out if you want, but it's, not really going to be that different than going to the Cheesecake Factory at home. So instead, I picked some things that are more specific to Beverly Hills itself. First, I have the Lowry's Prime Rib in Beverly Hills. So Lowry's, you might know them from their steak seasoning. It is a fine dining restaurant chain. They don't have a ton of locations, but they do have another one in Orange County called Five Crowns, where JP and I actually got married. So from that, we were on like their highest tier of like reward system for the longest time. So one year for my birthday, we went to the Beverly Hills location just to try out someplace new. And it is really nice in like design and service and atmosphere and everything like that. I definitely recommend it. So JP always gets an old fashioned. I usually will just get a glass of whatever kind of wine sounds good at the moment. Lately, it has been more of the white wines than red wines. And then they also do like a complimentary bread service. Theirs is kind of just like a thick cut of like a sandwich bread kind of thing, but it's still really good. Lowry's is known for their, it's called their famous original spinning salad. They make it there at the table and they spin it very fast. So I definitely order that even just for the experience, but you can see like it's very loaded and well mixed and everything like that. So that's really good. This appetizer here is crab and avocado. It's like a dip for this bread. It would be like ordering a crab cake that comes with avocado, except it's not like a solid cake, It's more like a dip, and that was a nice like light refreshing. These are both very like light refreshing kind of appetizers to start your meal off with. JP always gets prime rib. Obviously, I do not like prime rib. It's too slimy for me. I don't like the texture at all. But what we usually do, so it comes with the mashed potatoes and gravy and the Yorkshire pudding. And then you can choose between creamed corn or creamed spinach, and we always get creamed corn. When we had our wedding, they asked, and they were like, 80% of people choose creamed spinach. And I was like, that's disgusting. Like, what is wrong with you people? Like, who picks creamed spinach over creamed corn? Like, that is insane. But I guess it's California, so I don't know. But my whole family was very happy that there was creamed corn, and so was I. But usually what we do is we'll like share. Like he'll get the prime rib and I'll get like the mac and cheese, and I'll just kind of snack on the sides because we had like all the appetizers and things, and we know we're gonna have dessert, and it's a lot of food. But it was my birthday, so I got my own filet and this big fat piece of garlic. These were all very good. And then for dessert, we had gotten a pineapple upside down bundt cake, but what I forgot about is being that I don't know if it's all rewards members or if it was that certain tier, but you get a free dessert on your birthday and you get like a dining credit. So they also brought this dessert and the birthday candle as well, which was nice. Okay. Number 2 is the Four Seasons Hotel Bar. It's called the Lounge. I did notice at one point that they were kind of doing like a speakeasy type of situation for it, but I don't think that it's a permanent thing. That may change. But when we went, it was our last night in California before moving back to Ohio. And we just went to hang out, and just in a span of a couple hours, we saw Lori Loughlin come in. She was very nice too. Like she had like just stepped out of her, SUV that she had a driver, and was just kind of walking in, and she like said hi and waved, to people as she was passing, she was just acknowledging people and just being nice. And, this was post all of the college scandal drama. So that was interesting. We also saw John Malkovich, and then he was just like chilling at a table with people. And then there was someone from, I think it was more like a crime type of TV show or something. I don't really watch any of those. JP knew who it was, and it was It was a name that I've definitely heard before, but I was like, I wouldn't know. But yeah, so the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills is really great for people watching, we didn't even think about it at the time. And then I was like, dang, if people just like hung out here, like imagine all the different people that you would get to see. I'm not really that in the know of everybody, so it would take quite a bit for me to recognize somebody, but these were the obvious ones that even I was able to pick out. So as far as drinks here at the bar, I got this yellow thing. It was called Introspective, and it's got all these different things in it. It sounded like light and refreshing and tropical, and it was. And it had like incense on it. Like you can see the smoke coming off of it. So I liked that. Their like kind of premium drink menu were all interesting little things like that. The other drinks, I believe this is just a regular martini, probably with blue cheese stuffed olives. This is likely an old fashioned. Old fashioned is JP's go-to drink, but if he's getting a martini, he gets a martini if the place has blue cheese stuffed olives. So that's why my guess is that that's probably what that was, because I don't exactly remember. But we also got a cannoli. I don't really know why. To just have like a single cannoli. Maybe we had more, and just at the time I took the picture, only one was on there. I'm not really sure. And I think this is just a Coke. I don't think this is another drink. I think it's just Coke, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But if you get their little cocktail things, I think that's like the more interesting part, and then also just kind of like the people watching. The Four Seasons Hotel also just has like a regular restaurant. We ate there that same day, but for lunch. And it's kind of in like this outdoor-ish, greenhouse-ish type of setting, which was really nice. Their Caesar salad actually has like the anchovies like in full. You can see them here. That is not high on my list of things to eat, so I ate around it. But the Caesar salad itself was still good. My favorite thing that we had there is the rigatoni bolognese. The pasta was like very al dente, and just the quality of pasta versus like getting it from like Olive Garden or something is just insane. Like having good quality pasta, just like when you're craving carbs or pasta, this is what you're craving, not Olive Garden quality. It doesn't quite hit the same way. This is one of their like personal sized pizzas. I mean, it's still definitely like a lot for one person, but it's definitely not like a for the table type of pizza. This one has all different like salami, pepperonis, things like that. And then for dessert, I couldn't remember exactly what we got, because there's a couple different things on the menu that sound like this is what it could be. But this was a nice light and fresh dessert. I don't really eat ice cream. I think this was more like gelato, but I don't really, just in general, I don't really eat it. So I can't really say much about that, but this dessert was fantastic. Next, we have the Rooftop, which is a kind of bar restaurant at the Waldorf Astoria. And when I worked for Hilton, we would get team member rates at all the different Hilton hotels. So to stay at like a regular Hilton was like $45 a night with the team member rate. But I knew I wanted to stay at like the bougier ones too over time, because like I wasn't going to work at Hilton forever, and I didn't want to pay, the $800, $1,000 for the hotel room. And one day while I was working, I was like browsing around, and the room was like $180. So I just posted on Facebook. I'm like, should I? Shouldn't I? And of course, everyone was like, oh my gosh, yes. So of course I did. So stayed there for super cheap. The room was insane. I was watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills afterwards. Like I didn't start watching the show until a few years ago, and I started it from scratch. And it was when Denise Richards was on there, and she was having some sort of procedure. And I was like, that room looks familiar. And then I realized in the credits it had listed like Waldorf Astoria. I was like, that's where I knew that from. So I thought that was super interesting. But they have a rooftop bar. It's really nice. Like normally you would think like, daytime to see like city skylines and whatever, but nighttime is still good too, because you can see like the dotted little mansions all in the hills and things like that. And it's decent weather in the evenings, especially when you have like heat lamps and stuff. We went before I started blogging, so I don't have any actual pictures. And there wasn't anything like super unique or outstanding from what they had there. But again, it's a good atmosphere, good quality food. I wouldn't say is as popular for like people watching, but I like being outside, so like a fresh air experience is nice. And then the last thing I have here is the Beverly Wilshire Hotel Room Service. So they actually have a breakfast called the Pretty Woman Breakfast. If you're not familiar, the Beverly Wilshire is the hotel from the movie Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts. So they have an actual hotel breakfast. I don't really care for breakfast foods that much though. And when we stayed, it was just for one night for New Year's, and we were going home the next morning. So instead we ordered in for dinner, and that was actually really nice. So they gave us the full like dinner service. So it came with like the bread rolls. We got drinks. This is an old fashioned, even though it's in just like a regular cup, and some fries. And this was a DTLA, so downtown LA avocado club, and this thing was massive. Like we only ordered the one thing because like we knew that we were getting dessert and that it had fries and stuff, but once we saw it, we're like, thank God we only ordered one thing, because the sandwich was stacked. And then we also got the little piece of chocolate cake. It was also just nice that they just brought in the whole cart and just left the whole cart, and you just had everything you needed, like you were going to a restaurant without just having to leave your room, which was really nice. They have a nice hotel bar too. We looked around like before it was open, like when it wasn't busy, to get like pictures and stuff. But they have good like common areas for just hanging out and like live entertainment. That is more low key. I don't love when places have live entertainment, because then you like can't hear people talk, but these are more so just like a little like jazz band type of thing, and like that's fine. So some fun things to do when you're in Beverly Hills. Obviously you want to do some window shopping on Rodeo Drive, drive around the neighborhoods a bit and check out all the different mansions. I do have a blog post of our favorite secret spots in LA that most people never get to go to, and there's definitely some that are in the Beverly Hills area, so I would definitely check that out. I also have a post about a one-day itinerary for Universal. They have a lot of new stuff lately, so it's worth checking out if you haven't been in a few years. If you're visiting in the fall, they have an event called Knights of the Jack in Calabasas. And then at Descanso Gardens, they have an event called Carved, and those are really popular. And then for the winter, the LA Zoo does Holiday Lights. And this is a photo here of the hotel pool at the Beverly Wilshire. And of course, where to stay in Beverly Hills, I'm going to recommend the Beverly Wilshire. We just stayed for the one night and had a great time. It's super convenient to be able to walk everywhere. And just have so much available to you. And I also have, so just down the street, Westwood it backs right up into Beverly Hills. So I have a list of our favorite restaurants there. And then the Fairfax district is also not very far as well. That's where like the Farmers Market and the Grove, I think it's CBS has a studio there. And then I also have our favorite restaurants for Hollywood, Burbank, and Glendale. And then the last one I have is just favorite restaurants in LA. Those are all the restaurants that are everywhere but these places. So if it just didn't fit into any of these super specific like cities or neighborhoods, then it's just in like the general LA post. So definitely check out all of these. These are all shorter ones, like 5 to 10 places. The LA one is like 20 plus places. But that is everything I have for our favorite restaurants in Beverly Hills.